Good morning. Good morning,
Morning,
everyone.
everyone.
I have my special guest with me.
Oh, I'm special. I'll take that. I'm her special guest.
My special guest.
I,
Yes,
I,
yes.
I enjoyed the show, and I'm just telling you before we even get into it. Last week was amazing.
Okay.
You got me, and
Oh my
I know my
goodness.
friend very well. Went to
Yes,
Morehouse with him.
absolutely.
I didn't know the whole story. I know he found love again. He went through the
Yes.
whole grief and a lot with his wife and passing away. They were very close. But wow, when I watched last week, and his wife's amazing. I'm really excited. But
It was
yeah,
amazing.
you're doing something good. I like it. I enjoy it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I mean, we have so much to talk about when it comes to love, being patient. And last week was a look in. I didn't have to talk about it. I couldn't talk about it because I've never experienced that type of loss. But last week we enjoyed the Brewer's testimony as Pastor Eric Brewer and his lovely wife Tiffany Brewer spoke about their relationship, their love story, and Pastor Eric talked about his loss and being able to love again. After losing his wife, the Lord provided him with another opportunity to love again.
Wow, which was
Yes,
huge because he shared a level of loss I wasn't even thinking about. Because you think about the marriage and someone you've been connected to, built ministry together, all of those components. But when he talked about, hey, I'm in this big old house, it's just me by myself. I got this big void, and my mind just went like, wait a minute, I can't stand coming home to an empty house.
Right.
So that
Right.
all those dynamics just resonated with me. So such a weighty concept even discussed, and I was just like, wow. And I found myself multiple occasions going just to see my mother because I kept forgetting that my father passed away and my mother's in this house
By herself.
all by herself.
Yes.
And so the last, about little good last year and a half, at least twice a week, I would show up and come over the house, either have breakfast or just check on her or meet her somewhere, because I had to remind myself she's actually home,
Yes.
and she's not an empty nester. It's just like an empty mansion, just her. It's amazing. So that loss is tremendous, and then to be able to adjust to that, so to see how he was able to pray to God, hear from God, how should I do this? And I think one of his best phrases that he shared on last week that got me was, so when is a good time to remarry? When God says or when you're comfortable with it.
Yes.
It was like, ooh, wow.
That was a major point because I think when someone gets married after losing a spouse, there are a lot of opinions
Oh,
that
listen.
come up about that. So many opinions associated with perhaps a relationship with the person that has died or that is deceased. Perhaps just looking as an onlooker, looking in and putting a timeline on somebody.
Oh, that's
So
right.
that is very common. But as I listened to the interview, I thought it was very unfair because we didn't know all the details. You never know all the details that a person is experiencing. And one thing that stuck out with me is he said that after the death of his wife, he did the work. What is the work? The work was the mental health piece.
Him and his daughter.
Yes, him and his daughter did the mental health piece to really come to grips with what happened. And at some point in time, it was advised that he go on. He told us that the Lord shared with him that it was time to go on. So you don't know the intricate details of a person's life. And it's just good that I thank them for sharing their testimony and allowing us to come into their world and to really see how he was actually ready to go on and that she was actually prepared to receive him. So it was just an amazing opportunity to just hear the intimate details of God putting two people together
Yep.
after And the other point I loved was he said he completed his course. He really did what the Lord had him to do in his first marriage. He loved his wife until death. He loved her until death. And who thinks about that? That part of his life was complete.
It was complete. And I think a good piece that you did say, introduce, was in his world. And I think I just want to pause there for whoever's watching this. Your marriage is your world. You know, your relationship is your world. And there are so many people that can interpret, that bring their maps, that bring their agenda, their opinions to your world, that can have a huge impact, a negative impact on what your world looks like. Watch this, to accommodate their feelings or their truth. So that to me is, I think, is essential to understand and pull away from last week's the courage to love again. What the courage is loving again after death. I mean, and it's a very untimely. This was an actual COVID-related death, so it was very abrupt, very, not expected type of situation. So, I mean, how do you embrace that? And it's like, yeah, but this is my world. And there was so much about it that to me was amazing. Rebranding of the church, renaming of the church, because I started this church with my wife, and I can't move on with a new wife, so I need a new church name. Like, whoa, reorganization, all those components.
So orderly.
So that, I mean, all of that, again, speaks to courage to love again, and all of what it related to and what was required to make that happen for them. And I was like, wow. And I remember like telling my mother, joking, like, hey, you're Coretta King. You're Coretta Scott King. Like, you realize you can't get another husband. That was like, no, we just let you know now. You your new husband come in. That was a joke. We played around, but I mean, once people got away, 2-3 months into this, I made it very clear. Like, Mom, are you okay? I joke around, and if you're gonna get married, or you want to get married again, my mother, I say, I would understand, and I don't want you alone. And my mother, oh no, I love your father too much, and I'm very. I said, all right, Coretta. And then of course she had a little joke, like, oh no, I'm not taking care of no man on this money. Like, no. I'd already had everybody trying to talk to my mother. It was surprising. It was an amazing amount of people trying to really hook up with Lady Mose, but she made it really clear, like, no, that's not what I want. I want to enjoy my grandchildren, do one of my businesses. I want to travel. There was so much about her world that kind of, hey, I finished my assignment. I'm done being a first lady. I'm not the first lady anymore. Your wife is a first lady, and I'm like, no, you have a first lady. I'm a co-founder. And I was like, okay, and all of that kind of speaks to her world. But for Brewer, he made it very clear. Like, this is my world. This is what I need. This is what God spoke, and it worked for me and my daughter. I mean, how does that? All of those dynamics for the daughter to have the courage to let her father, allow her father to be in love with another woman who's coming into the house, and she's no slouch. I mean, she's someone, a judge, never been married. I mean, all of it was just like, what in the world? So all of it, and then look at her side of it. To all of my senior women that are, 40, is she 48?
48, yes.
48-year-old, never been married. Waiting on God to bless her.
Waiting on God.
And God blesses her at 48 with what she's been believing God for since she was a teenage girl. That's, you're talking about courage to love.
Both sides.
Both sides.
As a single woman. And then as a widower, coming together.
This is it's a lot. I mean, and the story was amazing. Like most of the stories. I mean, I'm saying most. I'm saying all. All the couples that you bring in. When you listen to the stories, it's like, wow, this love story is amazing. That love story is amazing. Like each component is showing us another level of patience in that love. But this whole courage to love, I think you took it to another level this go around. You're right.
I really enjoyed delving into the topic. I thought that this was a perfect way to end the loving again. After loss was a perfect way to kind of segue into another topic, of course, we'll always consider that. It's always a good thing to consider whatever happens in a relationship, whether it be a break, whether it be a death, whether it be a misunderstanding, whether it be something that is agreeable, that both parties agree to part. There's always a consideration that, hey, is it time? Are we ready to love again? Perhaps it's with another person, but I think it should be a consideration that you love again. You certainly don't have to. Like you mentioned, your mother, she experienced her lover passing away and did not desire to do that again. So everybody's different, but it is wonderful just to consider if just if the opportunity presents itself, consider loving again. There's all that I wanted to get that message out there to somebody that may have given up on love. Consider loving again. So we have segued into another topic.
Okay.
You ready?
I am
I'm so
always
excited. I'm so excited.
ready and excited. Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
I
hit
want to
this one.
get your take on it.
Okay, sure.
The notion of forgiving,
Wow.
forgiveness, forgiving and forgetting. Okay, so that is our next topic, the courage to forgive and forget.
Well, I will say on
Courage.
the outset, 83% of marriages don't make it because they do the first one, but not the second. I
I'm
forgive
telling you.
but I'm never
Yes,
forgetting.
it's going to
Like,
be powerful. Yes.
Yeah, so that's I don't know how you're gonna address that,
Yeah,
but that's
it's
a
going
lot.
to be powerful.
You know, and I think to embrace it the way in which I understand it, the question is presented. You know, so okay, Lord, I'm gonna forgive. How many times? You
70
know, and he's
times
like,
7.
well, 70 times 7.
Yes.
Well, 3 strikes and you're out. I have no scripture for this.
Yeah, we make up our own
And
rules.
I have no scripture for.
We make up our own rules with
But,
forgiveness and,
yeah, that's-
and forgetting and things that happen that really hurt and affect us. It's real.
What if
It's
God
real.
kept count? Is all I keep thinking. When I'm approached with it, and one of the challenges that I know you're going to grapple and grapple with is addressing the need to view people in the context of their humanity. Like, okay, so when should God stop forgiving you? When do you want God to remember? You want God to forgive? Forget, you know, to forgive you, but not forget. Like, no, I need God to throw in the sea of forgetfulness. Okay, well, yeah, I forgive you, but I'm not stupid. You burned me one time, you know. Your first time, you know, shame on me. Second time, you know, shame. You know, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Like I wish I can say that more. And I'm talking, and you're talking about love relationships, right?
Right.
So it's not just in marriage,
Right.
Like,
Any type of love relationship.
and what I've learned, especially as a pastor, people forgive the members they like. They like you, and our personalities kind of gel. I'll forgive you, and I'll forget. But members that they don't like, oh no, I got a problem even forgiving you. When I finally get to the forgiving, oh no, I forgive, but I don't fool with them at all. I'm done.
Yeah.
Or we're done. You know, you don't ever have to speak to me again. See those kind of comments, and that's one of the challenges I've learned as a pastor. I can't pastor people I don't forgive and forget.
That's right.
I have to forget what you said about me in order to pastor you.
Yes.
I
And
just
that's
can't
a
forgive
good-
you.
Yeah, that's a good relationship. I don't think that we've delved into that.
Oh,
The
it's
pastor
you have
member
to.
relationship
You have
is
to.
a love relationship.
Oh my goodness! Do you
It's a
know
love
how many
relationship,
members
yes.
have cussed me out or have said crazy things
Yeah.
where a death hits or a relationship doesn't work or they get sick or ill, and I know I can't pray for you or be able to intercede for you if I'm holding something in my heart
Right.
against you. Because my prayers are, well, you know, Lord, okay. Well, you know, you reap what you sow. And, you know, remember you said you said I wasn't anointed. So now you halfway sick or dead or ill, and you want me to pray for you. So you sure want me to pray because you know you went to Pastor so and so for a sermon. You need like no, you can't do that. And I think that's one of the things, even as pastors, the scripture is very clear. Like, no, whoever he sent to your church, that blood is on your hands.
It is.
So you're accountable for everything he sends. And my father said something, and I didn't appreciate it when he said it. My youthful, I'll call it my sophomore ignorance. I thought I knew it, and his concept was, and he said something that I didn't. He said, you know what? You're not even ready to pastor yet. He said, because you don't love the sheep yet. And I was like, love them? All I've been doing since 1995 is loving these men. And he's like, no. He said you love a lot of them. He said, but there's still a group that you tolerate. He said, so you can't pastor. You can't pastor tolerating sheep.
Right.
You have to love them, and you have to love the hell that's in them. And you got to love them until you love the hell out of them.
My goodness.
And I was like, you always give me reasons why I can't be the pastor, but
It's so true.
Oh, listen, 2-3
That
years
love.
into it,
Oh,
2-3 years
my.
in the pastor, I can be honest, I had to find myself in prayer, not praying for sermons, not praying for money or miracles. I had to pray, God, help me to pastor this member, because I hate them. And I didn't realize I hated them. Or I don't like their lifestyle. And it's affected my ability to pastor them, because they're asking me to pray or intercede, or they're genuinely asking me for advice and stuff. And my advice is tainted by the tenor of my inability to forget. I remember you saying, I could never be your pastor. So why are you even still here, causing all this division in the church? You're the main one causing the division. And now, I have caused a division, but I'm coming to you now. I want you to help me with my marriage.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, no, I don't want to help you with your. But yes, schedule them, Elder Terry. Schedule them. I'll make sure I meet with them. And I had to pray before we met,
Right.
because I forgave, but I didn't forget.
Woo.
And I couldn't have that blood on my hands because I couldn't forget.
Yes, I believe in both. I believe in forgiveness, the practice of forgiveness. It's a practice to be able to release someone because they've hurt you, they've harmed you, they've done something against you. To be able to release that deed or whatever was said, to be able to release that from you and allow them to deal with it, to relinquish the responsibility of what they did to you.
Yes.
And release that into the hands of God, and to release that for them to do. You have to put it back on them. So those are some of the things that we'll talk about, releasing that activity or whatever was done, that deed, whatever was shared, whatever was said, releasing that deed so that you can be freed from it is a powerful thing. And then to go a step further, to not hold it. Now, I think of holding on to something. You want to hold on to something that's good for you. You want to hold on to something that benefits you. You don't want to hold on to anything that's going to continue to harm you or to continue to make you feel a way that would cause you to act out of character. You want to let that go. So I'm thinking of forgiveness and forgetting in terms of letting something go that doesn't mean you any good.
Yes. And
So
that's very
in terms of that, just thinking of forgiving and forgetting in terms of, an idea that we can all agree with or grasp. And everybody has, at one time or another, held something and had to let it go. And
that's okay. And that's I know we're not getting into it yet, but I mean, we're just talking surface and scripture. Bible is very significantly pointing and shares the whole concept of, hey, listen, if you got a gift, but you have an ought with your brother or sister, You need to put that gift on the altar. Hear this and be reconciled.
Yes.
Reconnected, like reconciliate. Like wait. How do I reconcile to something that I have not forgiven? I mean, how do you really? And you can't reconcile to something that you still have an ought with. And
can't.
I'm telling you, there are so many talented people and gifted individuals that I know of that the grace of God is not on them because not that they're not gifted, they can't be reconciled. And I mean, I'm talking not dancers, I'm talking bishops, pastors, like, no, they've never moved on. Like they cannot deal with people that have left, members that have gone, betrayal, all those different dynamics that consider without going too far. What does the Gospels look like if Jesus says, tell the disciples, to meet me in the upper room, but tell Peter I'm good.
Yeah.
Not
Tell Judas.
not and Peter.
Yeah.
And Peter like no. Tell Peter I'm cool. Everybody else meet me. Peter denied me 3 times.
I'm good.
Actually was cussing.
Yeah.
When they asked her, like, you know what, tell the disciples to meet me. I'm okay. Don't really bring Peter. And that's one of the things the Lord's even dealing with me about. Like, be careful how you deal with people that can't deal with you when you're struggling. That I can support you and love you, and I'm a disciple. But the minute they arrest you, like, I don't know Jesus.
Distance
Themselves from Jesus. But here's the catch. But Peter's the bishop. So the main individual that is at the center of this new Christian movement and all of what Christ's life will look like and his death
is a problem.
Is being given to the one that denied him the most. Like, whoa, yeah, but if he don't forgive, if he don't forget, Jesus ain't gonna go out of his way to make sure Peter's there. He just said to the disciples and Peter, like, why do you specify? Because I need him to know I'm good. I'm good with him being there. And sometimes when I'm learning as a pastor, some members don't come around because they don't feel that you're good with them being there.
Right.
They know what they've said or done, or they know what they have done is inappropriate. I love my father pastoring me through my seasons of weakness. He didn't pastor me in greatness. He pastored me in highs and lows. And the significance of his pastorate is impactful to me now because I deal with members like he dealt with me. Not his son, not like, no. He knew what I did. And after I confessed and told him what I was not and whatever was going on, he looks at me and tells me, don't think I didn't know that. Now go downstairs and do praise and worship. Go down and lead the people. Like, no. His grace is sufficient. Yes. And then the same breath, other times, sit down.
Yes.
You're done. Yeah. Well, that's just not like, counseling. Yeah, we're gonna wait, and you know what? For a little while, like, wow. But he never ever held it over me as, no, I ain't forget.
Right.
No, 3 years ago, remember you? Like, no. Each situation was uniquely given its own grace, and how I deal with people is Scripture. Judge not, lest yourself be judged. How would you want this situation to go? Right? Considering your weakness, your flaws, your proclivities. How do you want God to deal with you about this? Do you want God to be done with you? Is there any situation where you want God to be done with you? No. Okay, so at no point as a pastor should you be able to find yourself where you're done with people.
Right. And that goes for many other relationships too. It should go for all relationships.
But especially marriage.
Yeah.
Because if it's for death until death do we part, there has to be space for the unknown, better or worse.
That's
what
right.
is worse? Well, it depends what world you're in. What is your world look? I don't know what your world is and what you're married, and that's why it's so dangerous for people to navigate or justify or advise other marriages against their covenant, because you don't know what their season of grace, weakness, or issue is going to be. And for you to say, well, this is the grounds for divorce, or this is the grounds, or you should leave, or I wouldn't have this, or you better than me. All of that verbiage, you're interfering in someone else's world.
That's right. That is a very delicate situation.
Yes.
And unless you've been in a situation similar, or unless you are guided by God Himself, you really have to be careful about all relationships, especially marriage. About all relationships. Be careful how you advise people about love relationships.
Oh.
And one very important part is this reconciling piece, the forgiveness, the forgetting. Even God says, I can't forgive you if you don't forgive others. That's a general principle that He has. I can't forgive you. You have to forgive others in order to receive my forgiveness. And I don't know about anybody else, but I need God's forgiveness.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I take it from that angle. If I want God to forgive me, I'm going to have to find it within myself to forgive others. And it takes time. There's a process in it all, and we'll discuss all of that. But I think another thing that's important is forgetting those things that are behind.
That's good.
And really reaching forward. That's another way that you can look at it. You know, what is done, it's done. Let's leave it in the past. Let's release it, and let's go forward with it. So
That's
we're going
huge.
to.
I mean, Lady Nina, when you get into you really got to talk about that.
We
because,
have to. We have
and
to.
this is
It's a big piece.
This is we
It's
talk
huge.
about crying over spilled milk, but there's so much frailty in marriages, these current marriages, that are just ignoring time. Like, stop it. You are carrying something that no matter how much it hurt you, it can't be fixed. You can't go back and adjust that.
It's
That's
in the
it's in the
past.
past.
Yes.
Like what could they possibly do right now outside of an apology? Outside of a change of lifestyle, like repent. Like turn from the evil way. I mean, yeah, they really can't. No, I don't know. Once it's a very dangerous, and I want to see how you go with this. This whole love is patient and forgive and forget,
Yeah,
because
it's deep.
part of that is dealing with situations in time, and I believe time heals all wounds, but you can't heal something you keep opening.
Oh,
That's when my father taught me about scabs and stuff.
Yes.
Like we got to stop picking at it. Like, no, stop picking at it. Like, no, there's a scab there. The scab is going to heal the skin.
Right.
Now leave the scab alone. Put some cocoa butter on it.
Right.
It'll rub in.
Yes.
It'll look, you won't even know it's there. The only reason I have
oil on it.
scars left on me, those are things I picked. And when you pick it, it doesn't give it time to heal.
Right.
The new skin can't form. And see, all of that in marriages,
good. That's
a lot of
good.
that happens. Not because I didn't say you didn't hurt. No, I didn't say you didn't get yourself scarred. Like, yeah, people wouldn't even know that existed if you would keep picking at it.
Right. And that speaks to so many things. The process. What is your process? And it has to be deliberate. It has to be intentional. Forgiveness. It's just not something that just happens.
Well, I can
It's
tell
not
you,
just something that happens. It's deliberate. It's intentional.
But I'm gonna be
it has a
around.
process to it. It's
here once a month. I won't be around. I know I won't be. But I'm telling you right now, my approach: forgive quickly. The longer you hold it, the harder it's going to be to get it out. The best way to approach it is forgive quickly, and then give yourself the intentionality you're talking about. What's the process I'm going to use to forget? Because if I hold this long, the longer you have it, I can tell when I keep something a long time, because when I see the person, I don't want to be bothered with you. Like, oh, okay, I got to deal with that. Like, why? Because I'm trying not to see them, or I'm trying not to be around them, or I don't want to, like, oh yeah, I let that sit too long. do it quick. And if you, and when the Bible talking about, unless you become the God like a child, you can't inherit the kingdom. One of the things you can learn from children
Oh my goodness.
is the ease to which
My God.
they can forgive.
Yeah, they can.
They can be fighting in one moment, and 5-10 minutes later they'll be outside eating
Playing,
ice cream,
yeah.
playing together. You can beat or discipline or correct a child and be right at the dinner table in 10-15 minutes, eating, and then cuddle up right underneath you. Like, what? Get off of me! Like, no, I don't know. I'm fine. I know. I got my discipline. I'm back. I love you. Like, wow. And as I'm learning in age, it becomes harder as you age, but that's because we like to carry offense.
That's true. So we're gonna first start by defining what forgiveness is, and I think it lends. I wanted to bring it up because it lends itself to what you said. The time that it takes for you to forgive. Certainly, it is case by case.
Oh, yeah.
The severity of the offense and all of that has to come into play.
And who it is.
But yes, all of that, there are so many different factors, so to forgive quickly might not be a possibility for a severe case where you gotta heal first and then deal with how you're going to handle and manage the person that offended you or hurt you. So forgiveness is actually, that part is not forgetting. So it's a separate piece to it. And then forgiveness is also not condoning. I think that's an important piece that we'll get into. It's not condoning the behavior. You're just releasing the act, but that's not condoning the behavior. And it's certainly not excusing the offense. So these are things that, in a general definition, just understanding what the action is, what that forgiveness is, what it means, how to practice it, is the power in it is understanding what it is not. Because you forgave somebody doesn't mean you support that behavior. Doesn't mean that you excuse that behavior. It means that you have released it. That's it. You've released it. So that's an important piece.
Now you're sitting there, and I've never even seen this, and and it just hit me. I'm sorry to cut you off. It just hit me when you said it, and the woman that was caught in the act of adultery, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, and I've never even addressed this, and it just hit me. He said, yeah, no, to your point, he did forgive her. Thee without sin, cast the first stone. I don't. That's right. Like, no. Keep reading. God just put that in me. But he told her, go and sin no more. Like, whoa. Like,
Well, yeah,
wait
you
a
was
minute.
wrong. Don't do it
Like,
again.
no, I forgave you.
Yes.
And I made sure you weren't stoned.
Good.
But don't do that again. Like, whoa. What if? Now we're talking about the courage to love, and love is patient.
Good.
What if our loving relationships carry that level of respect for forgiveness? That
Okay.
because I forgave you, and I forgot. Now don't do that again. I'm forgiving you, but go and sin no more. Like, this forgiveness is not for you
good.
to go do that to me again.
Right.
And that I'm in that same story where the wife,
that's
my
a
father talked about the wife that forgave the
Yes.
husband that molested the daughter, and got her impregnated. So was that he went to jail and all the other stuff. But when he came out of jail, they got remarried. But no, you can't get your
Ever.
daughter pregnant again. Like, you can't have another baby. We're not gonna have another baby with your daughter because I forgave. Like, ooh, like, and those are things that to your point, we're not condoning it.
Right.
Because I forgave you, that doesn't mean I'm giving you a chance to do it again. We're not supporting the lifestyle or the choice. Like, wow.
Yes.
And I'm gonna have to go home and preach that, think about that. But that just popped in
that's
my
deep
spirit.
water.
Go and sin no more.
Yes, it's
I
deep
got to figure
water.
out how to preach that one. Like, wait a minute. A lot of what we're talking about is grace. Wasn't grace. That was a forgiveness for that situation, and that shouldn't happen again.
Right. There's a responsibility that
Responsibility
comes.
upon the forgiven.
Yes.
The one that was
there's a
forgiven.
responsibility that comes with the offender. Comes to the offender. So there's so many pieces to this. I'm excited about it because I remember going through different situations where I've had to forgive, and it was not easy. and I would love to share some of my experiences, and of course we'll bring some others on to share their experiences and really get a full experience out of this, that someone's heart may be turned, that they can actually release some things that they don't have any business carrying.
Yes.
Some of these things that we carry, we have no business carrying them.
Well, this is
All
huge.
right?
I think
So,
this conference is going to be great.
I'm excited. I'm really
I'm
excited.
going to say on the outset, I have not just been forgiven, my wife has forgot. So you on the front hand, you can speak to stuff that even I look at, the strength of your forgiveness. And we've discussed it, like, I can't believe we're still married. And not because of you. Like, I can't, like, you really forgave me. You give me another chance. Like, you still love me. Like, wait, wow. And, whoa, thank you. And, oh my God, how is this still happening? You know, March next year, we're celebrating 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, like, wow, the different things that I didn't know. You know, the things, the mistakes I did make. Like, whoa, like, we made it through that? Like,
Yes.
no, we didn't. She made it through it. You were just around. She made it through it. And now you all have been reconciled, and you're seeing a different season. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
big.
we are one. So
One,
we did make it through it.
We made it.
Okay,
we
did make it
survived.
through it. But we'll discuss different types of relationships, forgiveness within different types of relationships, parent to child, pastor to member,
Sibling,
sibling
family forgiveness.
relationships.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes,
There's all types of
friends. You realize how many friends just go their separate ways and never consider really reconciling because of an offense. You know, so we want to get into these things because I just believe that people are carrying things that they should not be carrying.
Oh, goodness.
And we're loaded down because of this bitterness that comes from, I can't get through it. And it is difficult. I want to acknowledge that the difficulty of forgiving someone. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, no,
It's a hard thing.
I've watched in my own life people that I'm sorry, and we've talked through it, and what you thought, all the details. Like, oh no,
Process.
you apologize, but they're done, and I'm learning like, oh, okay, so they never let that go, and they have no plan on letting it go. Well, that's not my responsibility now.
It isn't.
Because
It
now
isn't.
that I've apologized to you, I explained my side. You've discussed your offense of it.
Right.
You're not going to let it go. Not a problem. You know, how could two walk together like, oh no, I can't carry that. Now that's the part that's another whole world that you got to talk to and get into. Like, oh, wait a minute. Now, once there's some apology or something like you
Process.
process
It's
now,
process.
if you decide after the apology, like, oh no, I'm not. Like, okay, that's on you.
Time,
Yeah.
prayer,
Listen,
therapy. It's a
Therapy.
process. It could be years. It could
Listen.
be years. The process of reconciliation could be years because the person, the offender, has to apologize. The person that takes the offense has to
accept it.
heal. You have to heal, you know, and then release it. Or it might happen at the same time. It might
Yes.
not, depending on the offense.
And it-
Oh
and
my,
I- and
it's
I-
so complex.
It's complicated
So complex.
and it's layered.
Yes.
So if you have a pattern of not forgiving or forgetting, you're just going to keep the score.
Yeah.
Well, this one did that, and this one did this, and my whole life I had to deal with
Yep.
this. And when I was younger, like, okay, wow, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, so you've kept score on these people. Like, yeah, and my whole life I had like, well, actually, I didn't meet you at 9, and I had nothing to do with you at 15, and I don't even know you at 4. Like, no, that's not, what I did to you here, you can't connect me intergenerationally, and I think that's kind of why it's important you talk about that. Not just forgiveness, but forgetting. Like, yeah, are you keeping score on types of
Right.
offenses?
Right.
Like, and that can happen, and that can affect you in ways where you have where you're not able to love.
Right.
That you cannot love. Because why? You've already established, you've already created a situation, you've already gone out of your way to say what? Oh my goodness, this is such a, like, wait a minute, wait, that man is not this man. Like you're carrying what's happened to you
Right.
from other men into into this brand new relationship, which is completely unfair. But again, you're keeping score against men or women.
It happens. It happens. And we just want to bring some awareness to it. We want to acknowledge what some people are going through. And we want to give some people some steps towards living a life that is free of some of these things that we've been carrying for years. So tune
gonna be major.
in, forgive, the courage to forgive and forget.
Wow,
All
should be
right?
great.
Yes.
Have a great time. I appreciate this time letting me come this
I'm glad that you
this
were able
month,
to come on.
and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to
in
everyone.
advance.
Yes.
Have an amazing Christmas. Hope to see you December 18th and 19th for our Christmas at the Cathedral. If not, have a blessed and amazing holiday season. Love you much, and we'll see you in the new year.
We'll see you. Yes. We'll see you next week. We'll see you in the new year, right?
All right. I'll see you.
All right. Bye now.